Hello. In this video, I'm going to continue talking about stress. In fact, I will continue from where I stopped from my previous video, in where I've explained about how stress occurs and, more importantly, how it inadvertently affects your bioenergy field, which of course has a direct consequence on your mental, physical, emotional, and of course spiritual connection and ability to connect from within and of course live the life in the way that you deserve to live, which is to be fully conscious of what you're doing, what is happening to you at any moment in time, as opposed to be constantly driven in terms of the fear and sort of different other negative influences on your particularly thinking and emotions, which are then creating you to start to feel bad about yourself. And of course, the direct product is the loss of quality of life. So, stress is not something that any of us can ignore, primarily because stress is, whether we like it or not, and I said in my previous video, is integral part of our life as it is, and whether we like it or not, we have to learn, if we want to be successful in this life, not so much in terms of successful being good at what we are aiming to achieve. What I meant by it is to be good at maintaining your inner connection, and with that, your high energy levels and good mental and physical health. That's what I actually, for me personally, what I claim success. Because once you have that, then you have a very good position from which you can do anything you want in your life in order to achieve all the goals and ambitions you may have. So, in order to do that, first of all, you need to become aware that you are stressed. And that is the kind of like the starting point from which you can then basically start to create some checking points. And also, it's more like a stepping stones that will lead you to become in control, which is the key contributor to you actually handling stress and eventually overcoming the effects of stress on your mind and your body. This is very, very important. So for that reason, you need to become aware that you're stressed. And a lot of people, due to the way that we live our lives, do not develop this awareness in initial stages, which is the most important. They only become aware that they are stressed when the actual stress becomes so pronounced, which is when the effects starts to take place in your body. I'm talking about the majority of people, I'm talking about everyone, but the majority of people that I worked with only recognized and took serious action once they've realized that they are now crumbling under the weight of stress. And all that could have been prevented much earlier should those individuals have actually realized that they were falling down with the stress or under the weight of the stress. So in that way, I'm going to now talk about the 5 kind of like simple strategies. They're simple in terms of the presentation, but not simple in terms of implementation. So those are 2 different things that need to be separated. But nevertheless, I'm going to explain what they are, and it's up to you to actually put them into practice and see how they work for you. So the first one is to be in the moment, or to be aware of what is going on and happening here and now. You may be confused as to why I'm saying this, but in reality, when you are stressed, are you fully aware of really where you are? Just to give an example, you are sitting in a car and you're driving to work, you're late. The traffic is very dense, there's nothing you can do about it. Your stress is going through the roof, your anxiety is kicking in, negative thoughts are coming out, you want to explode from within. Everything around you makes you want to explode. Are you aware where you are at a particular moment? Most likely you're not. All you're aware of is around how you feel. What everything that is going on around you makes you feel worse. That is the predominant feeling, what the person who is under the great level of stress actually goes through. But if we flip this thing around and say, now I want to be in the moment, means consciously let go of the emotions. This is a technique I'm teaching, but I'm just giving this on a presentation level. This is not something that actually involves how to do things. I'm just giving you the outlay of the actual strategy. So it means allow the feelings to dissipate out of your conscious awareness and solely focus on what is happening here and now with you. And that is, you're sitting in your car, you're behind the wheel of your vehicle. You sit in the traffic. More or less, you need to know how far are you away from your office. How long would it take you if the traffic was clear from the position where you're now to your office? And also to estimate, depending on how the traffic goes and what speed the traffic is moving, if it's moving at all, when you will be there at what time. Now, this is what the rationality comes in. And rationality only comes in when you remove the emotions and you are actually able to focus on here and now and on your current predicament. Now, this is one way to look into that. Why is that important? Is because that will give you the sense of empowerment. Meaning, now that I evaluated this, what is my next course of action so that I can start to control the actual fear that is creeping in, is giving me negative thoughts, we're leading negative emotions, it's going to create all these bad things happening, and I'm unable to do anything, I'm frozen. To reverse all that and to push all that aside, you have to become where you are, what are the solutions ahead of you. So what the solution is, no matter how hard it might be, you need to lift that phone and call your boss and explain what the situation is, and to be as calm as possible, as composed, and then provide the reasonable answers to the questions you may be asked by a boss without feeling fearful. Because if you're fearful, you are going to actually amplify the levels of stress you're already experiencing. You're not going to be able to think rationally. As you're going to be able to think rationally, you're going to sound very difficult to your boss, maybe annoying, or God knows what. And all that will have a much worse effects on you facing your boss when you get to work. So the most important thing is to prime yourself to understand, first of all, the reasons why you are actually late. Was it your fault? Was it something else? What do you need to do to prevent that happening in the future? There's nothing you can do about the traffic. It is just the way it is. You don't have a helicopter to elevate yourself in the position you're in and get yourself to where you need to go. It's impossible. You're sitting in the car, so you just have to obey the traffic and the flow of traffic. As simple as that. So no matter what you do from within yourself, no matter what you experience from within yourself, is not going to change what is physically in your environment. And that awareness of your environment in the particular moment gives you the strength to control all the possible negative thoughts and emotions that might be creeping in, and they might be starting to create a very negative compounding of so-called negative emotions on you, which will then further exacerbate the levels of stress. This is the first thing. Second thing we're now going on to sort of the leads onto this one here is, we already mentioned that, is your thoughts. What are your prevailing thoughts at all times? What are you thinking about? Do you think the self-promoting, self-empowering thoughts, or do you actually dwell in the thoughts of not so empowering nature? They could be anything. Mainly the ones that are actually suggesting to you that you're not good enough. Those thoughts are very dangerous. And those thoughts are actually disabling you and your ability to be in the moment, and hence creating you to get yourself regularly into stressful situations. Because they work against you. They're not working for you. I'm not saying you need to tell yourself you're the best, you are the most beautiful person, you're, I don't know, the most skilled person, the most lovable, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that, although that is something that probably should be doing, because regardless of what you think of yourself, your self-perception will actually create you to be that, even if you maybe are not that according to other people, because other people mirror to what you are actually thinking about yourself. You're projecting that image energetically onto other people. They are receiving that and they're mirroring back to you what you are projecting them that you actually perceive about yourself. So it doesn't hurt to be saying to yourself and telling yourself that you are the best of everything. Because if you do that, you will then be motivated to prove yourself that you are. So that's not that bad. But you must always then have this kind of like middle line between, are you truly there? As opposed to the one that you're completely out of there. So you should always be somewhere in the middle, meaning you have a ground to go forward, but you also have a fair distance of being and seeing yourself in a very bad light, which is equally not acceptable for your mental health and for your self-perception. The moment you start negating yourself in any form or shape through the thoughts, you're automatically in position 3. You're now automatically initiating the thought process, because the thoughts on their own have no particular electric charge. They are electric in nature, but they have no particular charge until you start to ignite its colleague in crime, emotions. Emotions are powerful because they are magnetic. So whatever you emotionally digest and emotionally go through, you're actually attracting in some form, shape. So for that reason, the combo of thoughts, what you think on a regular basis, and the emotions that are coming as a result of your prevalent thoughts, whether they are controlled, or meaning you're being conscious of them, or they're going beyond your conscious awareness, it doesn't matter. They are happening, and they are then charging your emotions. That is what creates this electromagnetic activity, which then forms beyond your sphere of conscious understanding the reality that you are experiencing. So in order to effectively control stressful situations, you need to start reverting what is actually caused the stress to actually happen through the electromagnetic discharge that comes out of yourself, whether it's been conscious or non-conscious, which in most cases it is non-conscious. And that is where the whole thing becomes dangerous. And for that reason, a lot of people are going through extremely stressful situations in their lives because they're unable to understand why is this stress occurring all the time, and yet I'm doing nothing about it, but without realizing that they are doing about it because they are constantly at a subconscious level processing certain thoughts of negative nature that are reflecting what this particular stress situation they're coming to them here and now. And in particular, when you go into the emotional states that are being driven by those uncontrolled thoughts. And then we're asking ourselves, why is this happening to us? Why did we deserve that? The simple reason is a lack of awareness, which we're not in the moment, we're not controlling the thing, anything going inside and outside. But we cannot control what goes outside directly, but we can control it indirectly by being able to control our own bioenergy field, or primarily we're talking about here, be in the moment, observe your thoughts, observe your emotions. And then in order to be effective in controlling everything that's going on outside of your bioenergy field, you need to observe your energy levels. And what that means is, how are you feeling? After all that's been said here, how are you feeling? Very important and very powerful question. For women, because they are very much genetically coded to be connected deeply with their feelings, to answer this question is much easier. Because they really are tuned to their feelings and they flow with their feelings. But this is more difficult question for us men, because we are more into our left side of the brain, which is more analytical, more logical, problem solving, as opposed to feeling things through. And this is where the stress is more impactful for males than for women, because women are more aligned from within with their emotions. They can sense the effects of stress quicker and intuitively do something about it to actually prevent stress then becoming a major problem for them going forward. So for that reason, it is very important, going back now from the beginning, to be in the moment, then to be mindful about what you are thinking, then the thoughts that are prevalent in your mind, and your energy. Your energy levels is how you're feeling. You know, are you feeling good? Are you sort of like this is basically more like mood related, but at the same time is, do you feel light for males? Meaning, can you just jump up and do things, or do you feel lethargic? Do you feel tired? Do you feel like drawn out, weak, physically, and even mentally? All that is linked with the energy. Why? Because excessive negative emotions are drawing enormous amount of energy out of your bioenergy field. And that all this is below your conscious awareness. All this is below your conscious awareness. So you just have to become really conscious about everything you're doing. And lastly, this is number 5, is once you've actually masterminded to be in the moment, you now sort of more or less understand what kind of thoughts are going through your mind, emotions, moods, your energy levels. To close the loop now is you have a choice. Either you are going to panic and go into the no control mode, or you choose to remain calm and be in some way legislator of everything that is going on. Do you want to fall under the influence of something that you do not control, or do you want to basically establish some form of control, at least control of how you react to everything that is going on with you in the moment when you're feeling stressed? Of course, at the beginning, when you start doing all this, you will not be able to be in the moment. You will not be able to observe your thoughts. Same thing as your emotions. And lastly, no way about the energy. No matter how hard you do that, it'll be very difficult because your mind will be somewhere else. So you won't be able to detect all these subtle messages that are necessary to be detected in order for you to become aware of everything we have discussed here. But the one thing you can do from the very first moment and then backtrack it all the way down is to choose either to fall victim of all that, which is to experience the fear and to react upon the fear, or you are going to choose to calm yourself down and then go back to point number 1. Where are you? And then here we go again. So this is a circle. This is highly effective in terms of helping you at any moment to become aware, number 1, that you are under duress, that you're under stress, that things are happening to you that you do not particularly want to experience, and you're feeling that you cannot really respond to that, but what you can do is you don't need to respond that in kind by being fearful, which is expected from you to do that. Instead, what you can do is to choose a different option, which is the opposite option, is to be calm. That is the first point of personal empowerment. And when you master this particular ability to empower yourself, when it's really difficult for you to do that, and then start from being where you are in the moment, then your thoughts, your emotions, and your energy levels, then that further compounds your decision to stay calm. And once you start doing that, this particular circle gets stronger and stronger and stronger the more you do it. And literally, at some point, what was once extremely stressful for you is not going to be that stressful. And if you continue this, it will become less and less stressful because you'll become more aware, more self-empowered to do something to actually prevent you experiencing negative feelings and having negative thoughts about and emotions about what is happening. Whatever is happening. You cannot control that at this particular point. But what you control is how you react to it. That is what you can control. And that is the actual key contributor to you moving forward and not looking back, not becoming a victim of something that you are meant to be a victim, but you choose not to be. And that is the beginning of self-empowerment. If you found this video useful, I would like you to click the like button below so it can actually help me to get this video to as many as other people. I would also encourage you to watch my previous video where I talked about the effects of stress on your bioenergy field. And this will actually make more sense when you watch that video first and then this one here. And all this actually I teach in my program. And I will actually put all the details about how to contact me and how can I help you if you're interested in particular help concerning this particular topic in the information below this video. And just drop me your messages or anything and I will respond to you as quickly as I can. And I see you again in the next video.